Guys, what's a good sign that a woman is just using you? Pretty much the same as when any person is just using you. The relationship feels unbalanced and unequal, with you giving more than you are receiving. In a good relationship, friendship, whatever, both people are giving what they want to give without coercion and both feel adequately rewarded for it. Sometimes one person needs more, sometimes the other, but it evens out over time. When you feel like you're being coerced into giving more than you really want, whether that's with force or emotional manipulation or whatever, you're being used and you'll eventually resent it. Does she ever ask you how you're doing, more than superficially, or seem interested in what's going on with your life? A girl once called me her happy pill, a nickname her therapist created 'cause I genuinely made her life so much better, but she cheated on me anyway. My friend told me that you only take a pill when you need it, and I've lived by that and used that as a filter for all my relationships. Oh, I can answer this one. Asterisk when asking you for something, time, money, physical effort. If you say yes, she will almost always and immediately look for something else to ask you for that is related. E.g., can you stop and pick up those hair things for me? I say yes. Okay. Can you also stop by the shop next door and get me that thing I like? This kind of things isn't a big deal on occasion, but when it's a repeating pattern, it's a red flag. Asterisk she will point out how much she fucks you and how it's for you. Asterisk will treat most of your interests with disdain or indifference. Asterisk doesn't ever really care what you have to say. Asterisk when you attempt to point out any inequality in the relationship, she will get extremely defensive and attack you for being selfish, and tell you you need to be more supportive, giving, a real man. She's in desperate need of a lung transplant and is always complimenting you about what nice lungs you have and making offhanded comments about how you don't use your lungs much and could probably do okay without them. She's always making posts telling her friends where you took her for dinner, birthday, holidays, vacation and what gifts you've given her, but never once does she say anything about any unique qualities she finds attractive in you. There are no signs big enough what will be visible through rose-tinted glasses. When you realize you are there for her more than they are for you. She acts really nice for a while, then asks for money and weed. When you say no she turns mean lol. I'm not a man, but I've known too many not so great women and have had guy friends used by women, so I think I can chime in here a little. She never wants to listen to your complaints, but that's all she does herself. She asks about your bank account and your job often and says she's just wondering. She gets unreasonably mad when you forget a holiday asterisk she makes deals with you using her body. If you buy me this, I'll suck your dick in the car. She lies constantly about her own financial situation or personal relationships. She always wants to hang out with a specific friend of yours. She doesn't thank you for things, but rather expects them. She manipulates you by threatening to withhold sex until she gets her way. She only says, I love you, when you give her something or do something for her. She never pays for anything herself. She guilt trips the life out of you. She is unreasonably, explosively defensive when you voice your concerns regarding the relationship op. If your girls is doing any of these, find a new girl. Asterisk. If you and your partner do this for mutual, well-intended fun, then there's of course no problem. It's when one person uses it specifically to get what they want, as a manipulation tool, that I find it to be a serious issue. You should never have to earn sex, unless that's a thing that you've both discussed and consented to beforehand. Girl is using my buddy and he doesn't see it. She only reaches out to him when she's single. Nothing ever comes of it as she will find excuse after excuse to not actually meet up. Then when she gets a new boyfriend she ghosts him unless something goes wrong and she needs a shoulder to cry on. Guys, if she only reaches out to you when she's hurt or vulnerable, she doesn't want you, she wants sympathy and knows you'll give it to her. Edit. And to be clear, this isn't an exclusively girl thing to do. Guys can be guilty of this too. Edit 2. And if you were in this situation and hung on only because you thought you'd get sex, relationship out of it, that's nice guy, incel behavior. If you hang around for a reason that isn't, I genuinely care about this person in a non-romantic context, and would keep doing this if there was no sexual, romantic desire, then that isn't you being the good guy. You don't want them. You want the idea of them that you've built in your head. It's possible you're both wrong. She uses her emotions and body to get what she wants from you. Makes you feel like you need to spend more time, money on her with her. She doesn't understand the word no. Your issues aren't worth talking about, but she will unload all of hers on you. They contact you when they need something. When she flirts with you all the time, and also everyone else, and asks you to come over to do complex electrical work and says she'll take you out to dinner, and you agree because you like the work and like being around her, but she brings her kids along and ignores you the entire time. Then when you're not around her, she never texts or calls and just waves at you when you pass her at work every day, making no effort to talk to you whatsoever. And when you try to talk to her, she gives you short answers like, "Yeah, fuck you, Liz." Unkind and unloving treatment, blaming you for her unhappiness. At least that was my now ex-wife. She only talks about her problems, making excuses to get something from you. If she has other men in her life, in whatever capacity, but you're not allowed to even speak to another woman, even an established platonic friend, without her flipping her shit. You are nothing to her but a source of drama and validation. Run. Do not walk away. When trying to ask you for something, they start their question with the phrase, "Hey, you should," insert thing they want, for me. Small things like body language whenever you take her out could be decent indicators. If she doesn't really seem all that into you but chooses to go out with you anyways and she's getting something out of it, food, materialistic things, etc. When it's never their fault. IDK if it counts, but when she takes a lot of time to text back most of the time, but as soon as you invite her to a really good place, where she won't have to pay for anything, she is suddenly faster than flash to respond and now answers quick as long as the topics are about going to said place. They can't take the answer, no. She doesn't act that interested when you are interested, flirting, contacting her, but when you stop, suddenly she is very interested and contacts you, a lot until you act interested again. The cycle then repeats. Always checking her phone, always talking and texting to someone else on her phone and spending your money. She only initiates contact with you when she wants something from you. My old roommate in college convinced a guy to move to where we lived, then drive her anywhere she wanted to go, pay all of her bills, and then a few months in told him sex was now off the table. And #X2OOB. This is a bit extreme of an example, and of course not limited to one gender, but I'd say when someone is using you, they're literally using you. Her pet name for you is Visa or MasterCard. If this thought ever pops in your head, that's already a sign. I don't think a healthy relationship, friendship should ever have this doubt popping up in the very first place. Rose-tinted glasses are a very real thing and will make you stay in a bad relationship even though the flags are very obvious. I only hope those who are reading this thread can be brave enough to leave for your own good. Some clearer signs. Lack of two-way communication. Only her issues matter, yours doesn't. Similarly, if you're the only one starting conversations but she doesn't, but still keeps you around, start running. She only looks for you when she's in trouble, needs a shoulder, having a bad time. A healthy relationship should share the good times as much as the bad times. Your worth to her is measured by the material things you can bring to the relationship. If you feel like once you stop investing money, time, and you would lose her, stop whatever you are doing immediately and find a better person. Any indication that she's trying to keep your relationship secret. She only talks to you when she needs something. Edit. Well, this really blew up. Thanks for the upvotes. Edit 2. Thanks for the silver. Your intuition. If you think she is, she is. And #X2OOB. What would you tell your twin brother if he came to you for advice? Do that. Her affection is proportionate to how much you spend. I had a girl tell me she only talks to a guy because he buys her food when she asks. This guy was my friend, and was very interested in her. When everything seems one-sided, for example, efforts, compassion, compliments, problems, friends, etc. When she only pays you any attention when she needs something from you. Bank empty, balls full. Not a guy, but I'm a bi woman. Unironically, think of a pickup artist and how they see women. Objects of desire to be captured and kept by any means necessary. Some women do that shit too, and they use the same tactics. 1. They will be fairly quick to get angry or upset with you. Small things will be made into big problems, and you'll be put down for them. 2. They will swing wildly between treating you well and treating you like shit. Their actions are there to promote a transactional relationship, i.e., gotta treat him well sometimes so he keeps coming back. 3. They will use their pain against you, making you feel like shit. Often they will make you feel bad for them or feel guilty. The goal is to make the guy sympathize with them as well as show vulnerability. For example, the guy might catch himself thinking, she's going through a rough time and everything will be better soon. 4. Gaslighting. They'll just lie to you, even if you have proof. It will usually start small and escalate to bigger things. They want the dude to question his reality and be more open to manipulation. 5. Isolation. They'll try to isolate guys from friends, hobbies, and family if they can get away with it. If said girl is the only person they have, they'll stay even when things get really bad. Not every girl who uses people will do every one of these things, but if you stay long enough you'll see them more and more. It might also escalate to domestic assault as well. Sadly, a lot of men don't have a lot of emotional intelligences due to the bullshit stereotypes forced on them. Things like, boys shouldn't cry, don't be a quitter, strive to be the bigger man, and don't talk about your emotions, can make men easier to manipulate, on top of promoting really bad mental health strategies. Just like how pickup artists will take advantage of vulnerable women, predatory women will take advantage of vulnerable or gullible men. Edit. Thank you for the award. I just want to mention, as a guy, that all of these can be applied to guys who are using you as well. Be safe with your partners, pals. You deserve better. There's always a crisis of some kind. You find yourself sleeping alone a lot. She only acts like she likes you when she wants something from you. You never meet her friends or family and she only ever wants to go out to dinner or some other event, but never anything you want to do. If all of the problems you have in your relationship all of a sudden become your problem. Recently got out of a relationship with someone who I thought I was gonna marry someday. But then little things like me saying, I just wish once in a while you'd make sacrifices in your schedule for me like I do for you. And I'd always hear, I never asked you to do that for me, so that's your problem. She only calls when she wants something. She never calls you by your name and you find out you're labeled, free food, in her phone. Always too busy to talk or hang out unless it's your payday. If she keeps asking about that amulet your father left you before mysteriously disappearing. Materialistic love. Everything is conditional. I just ended a friendship with someone I later found out was using me for emotion support until she could replace her boyfriend. Signs I missed. When we first hung out, she made giant gestures of friendship and told me she wanted to be my best friend and promised to always be there and support me. She would threaten to end the friendship if I didn't always pick up the phone. She would complain about all of her friends, and even the ones that left or rotated out would never be her fault. She told everyone's secrets to me, and would show me their text messages and make fun of them to me. Assume she did the same to me. She only appeared in my life when things with her current boyfriend were going bad and we would talk for hours about how much she felt abused. Anytime something bad happened in my life, her only response was, I'm sorry, that's it. And when I told her that isn't good support, she threatened to end the friendship. She actively told me of every time she has a boyfriend she gets bored, makes them continue paying her rent, and then once she finds a new boyfriend, ends it and moves him in within the next week. She had levels of friendships, and if you weren't perfect, she would demote you. She had a rotating cast of people who were always her new best friend. She never had voicemail or texting set up and always used extra apps. And her only male friends she kept at a distance became future boyfriends. She would spill her boyfriend's secrets and devalue him as a person. Once she tried to convince me he was worthless as a person because he didn't feed the cats correctly when he was hungover. She would often go through his phone and then send me pictures of messages to other girls trying to prove he was cheating on her. Whenever I brought any misunderstanding or problem up, it was always my fault. She asked me to tell her when I felt used. And when I did, I was attacked on a personal level, and she threatened to end the friendship. Telling me how dare I not see how it hurts her and that she is a good friend. I suppose my overall point is, A lack of loyalty to those she loved. Only being around when she was in need of support but offering excuses or bad support back. Seeing they use people. Giant promises right off the bat. Devaluing people. A lack of support are all the signs that someone is using you, and a refusal to work on issues without threats. She's got a long history of dating bad boys, but you are a clean-cut professional type of guy with a decent checking account balance. When you're justifiably upset by something they did and they try to use sex to make you get over it or forget about it. Similarly, kissing you to physically stop you from talking about something important they don't want to listen to. She makes you buy dinner for her other boyfriend, too. You've taken 1,000 Instagram pictures for her and on her profile you are in none of them. Cold personality unless they need something from you. When she makes little excuses or uses delaying tactics when discussing anything of significance or importance. One-sidedness. When she expects you to do things that she wouldn't do herself. Being too busy for you but expecting you to drop everything for her randomly off and on. Affectionate then distant. Hot and cold. Easy signs she's using you for comfort when things are off with other guys. I have a friend who comes to me for advice all the time. Talk about the job she is getting and so on. She would also tell me just random things. She never says hi how are you or likes or posts comments on my posts. Then weeks or months later she tells me she is either quitting that new job or getting fired. I stop giving her advice and she still gets fired or quits the job. If you have to ask, you're being used. Think of it like teenage dudes and sex. She's all over you when she wants something. During it, she's worshipping you like a cult leader. When it's over, you're alone, dreading the entire thing happening all over again in 15 minutes. Because it will, and each time, it gets a little less exciting and a lot more annoying. Anytime you try opening up, you're acting off character, selfish, an ass, etc. It's usually the typical pathetic manipulation people pull to make you feel bad for either standing up for yourself or just trying to be you. I was dating a girl who said she was too busy to go on a date on Saturday, and that she was only free on Tuesdays. She also said that she wanted to date other guys while dating me. She later admitted that she was cycling boyfriends through the week for free food. I dropped her like a bag of moldy tangerines. If you feel like you're being used, and you can't have the conversation about it with her. Thanks for watching. See you later.